Hi again, everyone. Welcome to the next fact of the day. Hey! Now, we are going to travel all the way around the world again. We've done it before. Let's see if you can remember what country we ended up at. But let's start with another question. Can you remember what this country is? It's shaped like almost like a welly boot or a high-heeled boot. That country is Italy. Well done. And what's this country? Well done if you said the UK, United Kingdom, Great Britain, all the same answer. Well done. That is us. That's where we live. We live actually right at the top here. Great stuff. Let's start our journey. Let's go across the Sahara and the Arabian Desert and go across this giant ocean. What is this giant ocean called? Can you remember? The clue is this country here. Look, it's even pointing to it. Pointing to the answer. This country, well done if you said India. So it is pointing to the Indian Ocean. Lovely warm ocean. The warmest ocean we have. And we've reached our destination. Can you name this country? We've been here before. Well done if you said Australia. Australia, a country so big that it's wider than the moon. It's so big. And just to give you another idea of just how big it is, got a cool thing up here. Now, Australia is in the white, big white country there, and all these coloured countries here are countries of Europe. We just looked at it. Here's Italy. Look at the shape of Italy. And here's us here in the purple. So Australia can fit most of Europe in it. That is how big it is. It's utterly ginormous. Utterly ginormous. On a side note, this country down here, Yugoslavia, sort of the brown kind of colour, this country doesn't actually exist anymore. It was broken up into lots of different countries, so this must be an old map. But you get the idea, the sheer size of it. But I want to concentrate on just comparing us in the red here to Australia in the green. Now, if I asked you which has the larger population, this massive country here in the green, Australia, or this tiny country here, us, United Kingdom, in the red, which would have the bigger population? Which would have the most people living in it? Well, congratulations if you said the United Kingdom. We do. In fact, there's 3 times as many people live on our tiny little island than the giant country of Australia. So way more people. Australia's got about 25 million people living on it. We've got about 65 to 70 million, so loads, tens of millions more people living on our tiny little island. That's odd. Do you remember why, though? There's not that many people living in Australia. Looks big, but most of it is the outback. So very hostile, hot desert. Very beautiful desert. And there are towns and stuff out there, but just not suitable for big cities, big populations, lots of people to live. So that is one of the reasons why it's got such a low population compared to our tiny little country. So let's head out of here and head back to the map. And today we are looking at a specific city, one of the most famous cities in the world, definitely I would say the most famous city in Australia. We are going to go to Sydney. Now, some of you may recognise Sydney from the film Finding Nemo, 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney. Okay, I have seen it quite a lot, as you can tell. So, Sydney, very, very beautiful. Let me just adjust this so we can get some good views of it. Here we go. I like to see the background. Look, there's Sydney going off into the background. Let me spin around here so you can see it better. Wow. And we'll go back a bit, get some more of it in there. And there we have Sydney. So, what's special about Sydney? Well, number one, it's very, very famous. But the thing I want you to take away from today, there's quite a lot that you can take away, but this can be our main fact of the day, is that Sydney has the largest population of any city in Australia. So if I asked you which city had the largest population in Australia, you would say Sydney. So if you took all the cities of Sydney and counted the number of people that lived in them, Sydney would have the most. I think it's something like 5 million. Same number of people that live in Scotland. So it's a big city, a big, big city. Very beautiful. I've actually been there myself many years ago. Very, very lovely city. Luckily, it wasn't too hot for me then. So let's have a look at a few things in Sydney. See if you can actually name them yourself. Do you know what this famous, funny-looking building is called? Well done if you said the Sydney Opera House. Very, very nice. And can any of you name what this bridge is called? A very, very famous bridge. They set a lot of fireworks off from it at New Year. Very, very cool. And it's the Sydney Harbour Bridge. So well done if you said that. Two very famous things about Sydney. So let's go back to here and have a look first of all at the Sydney Opera House. Now this is a photo that I actually took when I went by it. It's a lot bigger than I thought. It's a big, big building. I mean, you can see over here, tiny little people. It's humongous. It was a lot bigger than I thought. It's got a funny design. It's meant to look like, and it does kind of look like sails of a boat. An interesting fact: each one of these roofs, with thousands and millions of tiles, they weigh about 30 tons each. So it's a very, very heavy building. Do you know what name you would call somebody that designs buildings and bridges and stuff like that? Do you know what they're called? They're called architects. Architects. And there was a competition to design this building. And it was won by a man called Utzon. I think he was from Denmark. And he won a competition against hundreds, maybe even thousands of other architects. And they liked this one the most. I think he won £5,000 or something for it as well. Long time ago. But yeah, that's how it was. That's how it was chosen anyway, in a big competition, which is very, very cool. You can see all the windows here. What's it used for, you may wonder? Well, it's used for lots of things, concerts and shows and entertainment, lots of cool things like that. What else do we know about this? Well, it took about 14 years to build, a long, long time. So I'll ask you again, what do we call somebody that designs buildings? Architect. Well done, nice. Okay, now I've got a picture next that I didn't take, sadly. This is it at night. They can do all sorts of amazing light shows. How amazing is that? But look it up online. There's loads of these pictures. Just type in, Sydney Opera House light show or at night or something. You get all sorts of amazing images. Very, very beautiful. Let's quickly look at one of the other most famous things. Now you can, if you want, obviously you're tied on and it's all done very safely, but you can climb all the way to the top here where these flags are on the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Sadly, I didn't have time to do that when I was there, but it would have been very, very cool to do. Very cool bridge. And I've got just a random fact for you before we finish. And yeah, this is made of metal and it needs to be painted. Okay, so if it doesn't get painted, it will rust and it will break, and that's not very good. So to protect it, they put paint on it. For one coat of paint, how much paint do you think they had to use? Well, I will tell you. They had to use as much paint, which would be enough to fill 3,500 bathtubs. So imagine filling your bath at home, if you have one, with paint, and then having 3,500 of those. That's how much paint it took just to put one coat of paint on this bridge. So a serious amount of paint and painting. So that is just some random fact for you about the Sydney Harbour Bridge. But if you get a chance, have a look online at Sydney at New Year, and you'll see all the fireworks going off from it. It's really, really cool. And I think that is it. I've just got this one last picture, a real picture. Sadly, again, I didn't take this one. The weather wasn't quite that nice when I was there, but there is Sydney, the most populated city in Australia. And that leaves, that ends our fact of the day right there. So we'll say goodbye to Sydney Opera House, goodbye to Sydney. See you later, Australia. It's been fun. And we shall see you tomorrow. All right, hope you enjoyed that one. And we'll see you. Bye.